If you keep setting goals and then somehow giving up on them way sooner than you expected, this video is probably for you. And it's not because you're lazy, and it's definitely not because you don't want it bad enough. It's because most of us were never taught what to actually do when motivation fades away. You might have a goal that you genuinely care about, but the real question is, how do you ensure that you keep pushing towards that goal even when things in your life aren't going perfectly? Setting goals sounds simple, but actually sticking to them is a lot harder than people let on. At some point, procrastination shows up, something goes wrong, or you just simply fall out of the routine that you set out to be in the first place. This has been me for years. I would set a goal when I was motivated, feel really good and productive about it, and then somehow fall off in the same week. And every single time this happened, I would tell myself that I would lock in next time, and then of course, nothing would actually change. The difference is now I stopped relying on motivation and I started focusing on what's keeping me failing each time. I'm a college student with a lot of things that I want to do in my life, and I realize that if I don't change how I approach goal setting and achieving those goals, I'll keep repeating the same cycle in my life over and over again. So in this video, I want to walk you through the systems that I'm implementing into my life that keep me going after my goals even when things in life get hard. This isn't about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about coming up with systems that make it easier to keep going even when you mess up. Most people, and honestly this was even me for a long time, are always chasing numbers and deadlines, thinking that these numbers and deadlines will magically make them successful. You know the feeling of setting a goal, feeling motivated about it, and then it still all falls apart within a few days. At the start of 2024, I decided that I wanted to take my content creation journey seriously. So I set out how many subscribers and views and how many times I wanted to upload per week, basically just how fast that I wanted to grow. And at first, I truly felt unstoppable, like it was finally my moment to succeed. And then, of course, real life showed up. Senior year got busy, work got busier, and I felt like I was stretched thin and doing everything I could just to keep up. So then I would miss an upload or a video wouldn't perform very well, and instead of seeing it as part of the process, I just started seeing myself as not valuable enough. Like if the numbers didn't hit, I didn't deserve to keep going because I would never be good enough. And like I said at the start, it's not that I didn't want it bad enough. It's that I was letting the numbers dictate if I should keep going. So I learned that chasing these strict numerical goals is very fragile. Numbers don't actually teach you anything. They just point out where you fall short. And when motivation dips even a little, the systems collapse and it leaves you feeling frustrated and quitting early. Numbers make you feel very pressured because they give you this overwhelming end goal without actually laying out the process to begin to get there. The fix was focusing on systems, habits, and consistency, not numbers. Instead of focusing on hitting certain subscriber amounts or a GPA total, I started implementing these daily processes and habits that would naturally progress me towards that goal. Numbers then became a reflection of my systems in my day-to-day life, not the thing driving me in the first place. And this is why chasing numbers can be so dangerous. It's not just messing up one goal. Doing this trains you to associate progress with pressure and effort with self-worth. And if this is the foundation that we keep building on, it makes every single goal that we set in the future heavier, harder, and much easier to quit. But even with a system, the next hurdle then pops up. How do we respond when we fail? One mistake doesn't have to destroy your week, but most people let it. And this is the lesson that I had to learn next. Most people don't actually fail because they mess up once. They fail because they mess up and they let it ruin everything. One missed day turns into a missed week, and one mistake turns into a what's the point of anything. This literally just happened to me. At the end of November of 2025, I was planning a winter upload series for December and January. And then I missed one upload at the very start of December, and instead of seeing it as a small slip, I immediately let it spiral. I felt behind, frustrated, and very burned out. So instead of just missing one upload and moving on, I checked out completely. I basically was burned out for the entire month of December. And looking back, the miss wasn't the problem. My response to it was. And this is what most people don't realize. Failure isn't the thing that kills your progress. Overreaction to that failure does. When your brain sees one mistake as proof that you're bad at this or not consistent, it will shut down completely. You stop showing up, and not because you can't, it just feels emotionally safer to quit rather than to restart. So don't let failure be the end of your progress. So what actually changed for me was learning to respond to failure neutrally. No spiraling, no self-talk about worth or anything, just asking one simple question. What's the smallest action that I can take to get myself back on track? Sometimes this meant filming late at night, or sometimes it meant doing less than I originally planned to do. But the rule becomes simple: never miss twice on purpose. One mistake is simply just data. 2 mistakes is a new habit of not showing up. So when you fail, what went wrong and what changes do you need to make sure that doesn't happen again and get yourself back on track, most importantly? This is important because the systems that you're building only work if you learn how to protect them from emotional overreaction. If every single slip up you have turns into an identity crisis, nothing will ever stick for you long term. Learning how to fail correctly is what keeps that momentum alive, and momentum being alive for a long time will compound over time to you being successful in the areas that you want to be successful in. Now, even if you understand systems and learn how to respond to failure, there's still one crucial thing that keeps people from following through day to day. It's subtle, it feels logical, and it's actually what causes most goals to die quietly. And it's what I had to learn next. A lot of people will try to fix their life by copying what disciplined or successful people have done. They try to follow the routines, the habits, the systems of these successful people, but deep down they still don't see themselves as somebody that deserves those things or is worthy of those things, or however you want to put it. So eventually they stop. I used to do this all the time. I would watch these YouTube self-improvement guru videos and I would write down all the self-improvement tips, the habits, and the routines that they gave me. I would tell myself that this is the year I was going to be disciplined as I sat in my chair in my childhood bedroom being motivated to change my life. But every single time I messed up, it felt like it was proof that I wasn't the person that they were talking about in those videos. It made me feel demotivated and sad and like I couldn't achieve anything in my life. And instead of adjusting, I would just quietly go back to my old habits. The problem wasn't the routine. The routine in and of itself was a good thing, but me borrowing the identity from someone else while not actually believing that I was capable of being a successful person is what hurt me. Your brain is always going to try to stay consistent with how you see yourself. If you don't identify yourself as someone that shows up, you will eventually fall back to the person that you still believe that you are. That's why motivation might fade or discipline systems don't work, because you're falling back to the system that you still believe in. The routines and the systems that you built for yourself might be really good, but if you don't believe that you're a person that sticks to them, you're not going to stick to them. So what actually helped me was focusing on identity evidence instead of perfection. So I stopped asking myself if I did everything right, and I more so started asking if I showed up today and showed one discipline action. Every small win became proof that I was building into someone that follows through. The identity formed after the action and not before it. This is important because long-term growth is not built by intensity or habits. It's built by trust in yourself. When you consistently prove to yourself that you show up, your identity shifts. And once your identity shifts, that consistency stops feeling so forced. So if numbers don't work, failure doesn't define you, friction can be reduced, and identity is built through action, what does this actually look like when you put it all together day to day? That's the final piece. Most people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they don't have a system that survives the bad weeks. When life gets busy or motivation drops, everything falls apart because they don't have something there holding it up. And this is something that I really had to learn the hard way in college. My weeks in college can be full of chaotic classes and work and content and anything that involves life. And if I don't intentionally come up with a plan and a system for the week, I start reacting to things instead of progressing. The weeks that feel the worst are always the weeks where I'm just like, okay, I'll figure it out as I go. And trying to figure it out as I go is always something that makes my brain feel very overwhelmed and like I'm really behind. So I needed to find a way to stray away from that. So big goals are achieved through weeks of progress, not days. And if you don't set your weeks up intentionally, your goals don't really stand a chance. So here's what actually worked for me. At the start of each week, I pick 1 to 3 non-negotiable actions that move my goals forward. I schedule them first in my Apple Calendar before everything else. And if the week goes off the rails, which sometimes it will, these are the only things that I actually have to hold myself to. This way, even in a bad week, I'm still making progress. And not perfect progress, just real progress. And this is what makes everything else in this video work together. Systems beat numbers, failure becomes manageable, friction stays low, identity builds naturally, and when your weeks are intentional, progress becomes unavoidable over time. So if you zoom out, this really is simple. You don't need motivation, and you don't need this strict self-discipline. You need systems that legitimately survive the day-to-day life and what it throws at us. When you stop chasing numbers and learn how to respond to failure, reduce your friction, build identity through small wins, progress stops being this stressful all or nothing thing. You really don't have to overhaul your entire life. Just build weeks that are intentionally moving you forward towards your goals week after week. And that's how this actually works. But systems help a lot, but they don't magically make starting in the first place easy. If you find yourself still putting things off even though you know what to do, that's procrastination. And I'm a seasoned procrastinator, so I understand. But I do have a video that I have made of how I walk through my own procrastination problem. I'll link it right here.